think I might have fixed it. I'm just kind of checking it because I had to unplug my mic and CPU dropped tremendously. So we'll see what's going on. I'll keep going. But okay, looks like we may be good. So yeah, I picked up weight, lost it. Now I'm fluctuating. But I realized when I had that weight gain, I started to sweat under my titties. We went to Florida one yeah, like right out the gate of COVID. When that big round hit, we went to Florida just before Halloween, or yeah, just before Halloween, going into the first week of November. And I remember I had this shirt and I had this whole outfit. I looked like a whole ass dad, and I was so hyped to wear it. And it was like a light blue undershirt. And remember, just we were walking through Key West, and me and my wife and her sister, we walking through Key West, and then like we end up hitting. I think we end up into like a McDonald's or a Wendy's restroom because we were just walking the streets. And yeah, I saw in the mirror, I just had these little lines and these little drips, like I was breastfeeding. But thanks, Sean. I appreciate you pointing it. Let me just reply. But yeah, so I mean, that's just me opening up, sharing what it was like to have to experience that kind of thing because I get it. Like I used to be skinny all my life, and then uh, I stopped paying attention to my body, to my weight. Next thing you know, shirts that I'm wearing that fit comfortably are fitting kind of snug, and then boxers got kind of tight. I didn't realize I was picking up weight because I just wasn't paying attention. And it kind of hit me because I grew up calling my siblings and anybody else who was bigger than me fat. And I my favorite thing to hear and say will always be calling somebody a fat boy. I don't know why. It's just those two words. It's so funny. It's funny every time. It's hurtful, but I say it differently so no one gets hurt. But yeah, I grew up calling people fat boy. I picked on my brother because he would always bully me. We'd go back and forth with the trash talk. But I when I realized that I picked up weight, I'm like, dang, now I'm the fat ass. I had to be like, yo, gotta put these nuggets away, man. Gotta put this beer down. Gotta quit smoking this hookah. Stay hydrated. But when it comes to the change in our body like that, that's like we have to kind of accept that that's happening. It kind of throws you off at first because you're not be used to it. Maybe you're not used to it. And you know who else will understand this if you're watching this and you kind of don't? Women who've been pregnant. I know once they get pregnant, their body tends to change in a number of ways, and it hits them a lot harder because like you may have been the type of girl who was fit and you had all this attention. Now you're expanding, you're carrying a child, your hormones are through the roof, so your emotions are all over the place. Like it's just so many change, so much change in so little time. But yeah, it's just that's one big thing that we have an issue with. A lot of us do when we're growing up. Is just having to deal with and accept the fact that our body is changing in a way that we're not used to. Because when we're younger, we're looking at older, like we would look at our elders like, I'll never get that way. I'll never look like that. And what happens? Let's see. So another perception of aging in time is not only the looks, the appearances of our faces, of our hair, of our body. It's how it moves, the capabilities. Look, as you get older, you start to understand. Maybe is that you kind of become robotic. You become monotonous with your day to day. Like if you got a good job or a career and you're hitting that 9 to 5 or that 8 to 4:30 or whatever it is, it's like 5 days a week, same thing every week. Well, like mostly people for who do desk jobs. That's also another way that people gain weight. Just sitting there all day in that chair, that it hits you. But like So going through that day to day, if you don't do anything else but that, your body gets used to it. Therefore, you're able to wake up easier and go through the motions. But the thing is, like, you're not doing anything extra. You're not doing any strenuous activity for your body to go, okay, like, we can keep growing. We're still malleable. So you may come to understand, like, not only is it age that makes your joints, your muscles all sore, stiff, especially during some weather. But it's just the fact that you don't stretch. You're not as active as you used to be when you were younger. You know, something like that. It's kind of a well, well, I'm gonna stay with it because if you're gym active, you may not. This may not pertain to you. It may also pertain to you because as we get older, our body starts to give out a little bit. You may not be able to hit it as hard as the gym is used to when you're younger, like in a teen or in your early 20s. So you may understand as well. But bottom line is that as we get older, or we start to really like, you wake up, you rub that knee for a little bit. Every now and then you got to put that brace on. This is people for like 40s and 50s. If this is you at 30, I'm sorry. Damn. But like for women who have heavier chests, they experience back problems, so that'll probably be hitting a lot harder as you get older because that over time that extra weight is going to take a lot more wear and tear on your spine, on your muscles, and your back. So you might, it might be hurting a lot more as you get older. For men who played sports such as football, basketball, whether you're playing still or not, the knees, the legs, they start to hurt more often. Let's see. And maybe even getting out of bed. I know for me, like when I get out of bed, I have to kind of like align my spine and my back and just kind of pop it, pop it, and you can just hear the whole spine go. But I like to make sure you got stretch every day, stretch at least once a day, and you'll be able to maintain the wear and tear that's happening on your body a little better, a little more. The next I have on my list, as far as the perception, just the kind of differences of aging and time, is health. A really big one as we get older. The elders in our lives start to get older. If there's any, what's the word, health issues, whether they be minor, major, or life threatening, you may see that more of your family or the older ones in the family are starting to get a little ill or more ill. Some people are even passing. You might even start showing signs and symptoms of some illnesses in whatever shape or form. Hitting the age of 30, everything kind of starts to onset for some people, or you understand that some people have like diabetes, cancer, that once you hit about 40 to 50, you're like, well, I might also get it. So it's a really good time when you're hitting 30 to understand, to really start choosing a healthy lifestyle to kind of maintain and hold at bay whatever genetics that you may see in your near or further future. Well, another one that we kind of look into that changes is the career, work. Just like being able to, like, are you looking to keep the career that you have? Are you looking to change it because it's become mundane, or you just want to spread your wings and find something different? Or have you not yet achieved a career and you're looking to achieve one? Some late bloomers, because we're always seeing, like, for me, I thought I was going to be a late bloomer. I kind of am, but you see everyone amassing this success, getting out of college, getting these jobs real quick, maintaining these jobs, making this money, getting these new cars, these new homes, and getting all these families and all this stuff. And then you're looking like, I have none of that. I need to get that. You may have gone through stuff at a young age, and now it's your time. That's me. But you're not alone. Another one I put was, as far as career, is not wanting. I found that one kind of I'm kind of hit because I really get that. I like, there are times where I'm just kind of looking around at life and just the structure of how it is like to live the day to day, or wanting to pursue a career opportunity, wanting to pursue a hobby and turn it into a career, or just doing anything that's outside of the time of having to survive. And everything seems like it's such a juggle, especially with having a family. Like, there's so much to juggle, and it just seems like it's just Do you lose the sleep and gain whatever it is that you're working on, or do you sleep and you retain your sanity and just go, well, I wanted to do this thing, but not, yeah, I didn't want to. It's just, I know for me, with me now being a stay-at-home dad, I'm just like, I don't care to go back to work, but I know I got to. I've worked the way I've worked for so long, back to back jobs. I've rarely had more than, I think, 3 months away from each job, and it just, I don't know, I feel like I'm retired already. I just put so much into working, and I'm burnt out, but I know I got to go back because we want more in life. I want extra stuff. My wife wants extra stuff. The kids are going to want extra stuff. They need to be supported. And with her career, it's going to be a tough break, and I just know that it'll be a lot helpful. I've come to terms with the fact that it'll be helpful overall if I just kind of pull my weight, which isn't a lot because I can kind of live minimalistically, but theoretically speaking, I this hair needs a lot of water. Gotta get back out there. One other thing about aging is the idea of wisdom, of gaining wisdom or having wisdom to give. That's one thing that kind of sets in with us as we're getting older over time. It's like, are you the type of person who needs more guidance? You look to people to talk to because you don't have all the answers, or are you the person who kind of looks at a tree and just goes, this is life, and you can just break down everything. So whenever someone comes to you, they're just like, oh, well, well, here's this and that, in a matter of a few words, and they just go, you're so wise. One other big one is being at that age where you start to really look back on how things used to be, the old back in my day thing. That one's another big one. The changes in life, a little bit hard to deal with because it's not the same. Like, we're so used to the same and you don't think about it, like 10 years of having the same thing can either be short or it can be long. Because when things start to change, you're like, whoa, wait, I'm not used to this. This is, we didn't used to do this. And it's like, man, you really think about it. How you did things was only for this short of time frame. But you got so used to it, it feels longer than that. That one's a big one. Because some people, they don't know how to move on from what they know or what they used to know. They're not open to the idea of change. And that's a struggle. That definitely is a struggle because it can really hinder you from whatever you have to achieve in life if you just kind of stay in that zone of how things used to be. One other one that we'll get into the next segment is social changes. That's part of the episode here, but we'll get into that a little bit. And then just kind of put both of them together because I feel like I've spent a little time on this one part is family and time. When I wrote this down, what I was aiming for is that as we get older, I think we start to realize we don't really need to interact with our family the way we've grown to believe that we need to. Or maybe you're the family person and family's more important now as you're getting older than when you were younger because you're a little more wise to life, and the virtues of family mean that much more to you now that you're older and you can understand and put things into perspective as an adult rather than a child. So I think that's where I was going. And then with time, as we were saying in the Sketch and Catch episode featuring Trey, time being a construct, however you want to define time, no matter what you got going on, if you've got to work, or if you have a job or a career and you're spending 12 to 16 hours of your day with work, or if you've got work and a family, so you've got some kids, you've got a partner, and then you have hobbies or you have just other interests, then you realize that you can only put so much time in there because you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to be hygienic, you got to spend time with the kids, you got to spend time with your partner, or if you don't have any one of those, maybe you have a set of friends that you go see, or like there's all this other stuff, and you look at everything you want to do and you're just like, wish I had more time, wish I didn't need sleep, right? So time tends to pass us by, slip out of our hands, and we want more of it. Like, dang, I wish I didn't have to work this many hours to feel like I'm successful. Or it's a juggle, and it gets kind of difficult. One thing that I'm about to get into is just like the awareness of everything. We start to become more aware of what's necessary So when we're like, I don't feel like I need to do this or should need to do this, you get to thinking like that, you really start to look at other things like this doesn't make sense. So why I chose this, why it may be an issue to some, or why is it you just like a really strong topic. Well, as I was saying, we're getting older, we're learning how to be aware of things, we're learning ourselves even more. If you think about it, let's say the ages of 10 to age 30, that is the crucial time, that whole 20 years, that's our crucial time in our lives where we become to understand how to be human, how to be independent, how to be dependent, how to coexist. And then beyond age 30, that's where we understand how to live life. Because by then you understand what it means to have a kid, how to interact with people, how to have a pet, how to have a job, how to get one if you lost one, how to maintain one, cars, just everything in life to operate as a functioning adult. By age 30, you should be able to do all of that. So now is the time to start living. Now is the time to start gaining and achieving. But every day is a lesson learned. Every day is a new experience. So I would like to put out there that for anyone who's kind of worried about growing, about getting older, about having to take on the responsibilities of life, I'd like to extend the olive branch of really understanding, like, yes, it can be a scary idea because we come to understand more that the future is so unknown, and the only way that we can know it is to wake up the next day and live it. To make the future our present, that is the only way we'll know anything. But that's a continual loop. And I think when we become so aware of life, we're like, well, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so how do I live my life today? Very big one. I used to think in that mindset, like, well, I wish there was a way that we could see in the future. Well, it kind of takes away from the fact that you'd be able to live life, because if you knew what the future held, we would we would waste time. And I say that as light as I can. Feel like we would waste time trying to not make certain events happen, that we would in turn cause other events that we didn't foresee in the future. And again, there's another set of unknowns thrown at you. So I think not being able to see into the future is a good thing. Now that I'm older, I can say that, because we would just waste so much. I feel like one way that people would live is that we'd waste so much time trying to not make things happen. Like, oh, I know this family member is going to die this day. Well, let's not make that happen. You're not living life. You're not understanding the experience. You're not enjoying the memories. You're not learning from the pain and the sorrow. You're not living life at all. You're just trying to prevent. Yo, welcome, Sean. Thanks for stopping in, and thanks for the heads up on the audio issues. I appreciate it. But I feel like that's why we don't have the ability to see in the future, because, well, I mean, as theories and movies and TV shows have showed us, you try to ascertain one thing, you're missing out on the other. Like, it's just it's like trying to. That's I guess the best way I could put it is trying to catch money in the air. If someone just took a bag of cash from a high, just like from the top of a building, and just spread it, you have no idea what's falling until it's right in front of your face. But you go to grab. Are you just grabbing to grab, or are you trying to grab the? Because now what you're going to do is you're going to wait till it hits the floor. Well, if it hits the floor, are you alone in gathering that money? Because then by then it's like, well, I'm just going to grab what I can grab. I'm going to worry about trying to get the big bills, because the more you grab, the more you're going to have. And then you look at the numbers later. Kind of like that. I don't know, I feel like I'm veering off, but it's kind of like that. Sean, if you pass out on me, you're going to get a spanking. Just kidding. And if you fall asleep, you fall asleep. This voice, hearing it for more than 5 minutes, I put myself to sleep, so I got you. Another issue that I found when it comes to understanding getting older is losing or gaining the ability to comprehend change. Now, as I was saying before, the type of people who are like, what was it back in my day, right? So let's take one. There's one obvious one, racism. So a lot of us, I guess can't say a lot. Some of us know that we have family members who are, they're like they can't let go of what they learned. So we try to. My Mr. Miyagi is subpar at best. I'm gonna try and grab for the money. Like we have relatives who have a hard time getting over the fact that racism was a thing in their favor. Just to put it bluntly, there are some elderly white people who they can't get over the fact that blacks are just as much as human as they are. So when they see an African American walking by or near their house, they want that N word on my lawn, stuff like that. But that was like an easy example. That it's just that those type of people will have an issue with comprehending things change. Some people with politics, they were living in the Kennedy Nixon era. Now things are where they are at. Like when we were getting, and this is not to turn anything into race, but it's just very easy to go this route. Like when we were getting Barack Obama as president, there were a lot of people. They were like, I don't want that monkey in my office. And like to go as far as, I'm gonna just say this, like to go as far as like making like a doll or a puppet in his image, and then you're putting a noose around him and you're in the streets because he's becoming president. Like what the heck is that? Get over it. He's got color. He's got color in his skin tone. Some of y'all try to do that, but end up looking orange like your other favorite president. And that's just, what's the difference? But like that. Some people just don't know how to get over the fact that those changes are happening. And another good one was when we thought Miss Clinton was gonna be president. Everyone was like, "Oh no, a woman president in office. She's gonna have a period and then start shooting off the missiles on a bad day." Like it was Armageddon. Thank you. Yes, it was just crazy for no reason. And then they're like, "Oh well, Hillary's gonna be president. She's gonna have a bad day and blah 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 blah." It's like that. Okay, first of all, that's just wrong on many levels. That's not playing. But I mean, it changed. You got to be able to get over it, or it's just going to be a bad rest of your life for you. But on the opposite side of that, being able to actually being progressive is what they call it now. Like understanding change is for the better. So, for instance, the merger of the white American and the black American for the sake of humanity. John, you say different reason. Okay, so just kind of. It wasn't anything like controversial, right? Oh, there you go. Okay, that's yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, because if she didn't have the qualifications to be in office, for the fact that she just didn't have the experience, that's reasonable. But for someone to say, "I don't want no woman ruling me," well, like a personal problem, homie. But the progressive nature that we live in now, and then there is such a thing as too progressive, because some of y'all go a little above beyond what anyone's asking for, and tone it down. Moving on. So one thing that I understand personally is being overwhelmed or having the emotional or mental imbalance where you're confused about reality. So, say for instance, you were growing up learning that 2 plus 2 was 5, and for some reason you missed elementary, you missed middle school, you missed high school, or all those locations thought 2 plus 2 is 5. So you hit the real world and hey yo, put 2 fingers up, put another 2 fingers up. Count how many 2 fingers up. What do you see? Not 5. And you go, whoa. Mind blown here. Hold up, because I think that's the devil. That doesn't make sense to me. It's like, well, hold on. Let's help you out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th one at, buddy? Oh, I never thought to do that. That makes me ask so many questions. And there are stranger occurrences where something like that happens, because not everyone learns the same thing that you've learned. Not everyone learns it at the pace that you learned it. There are people overseas learning stuff in elementary that we're learning in high school. It's just whether people learned what is to be learned late or not at all. But that can really like throw you for a loop, because as you can see, to know something is different than what you've learned, not only can it be confusing, but like you'll be left scratching your head like, well, what else was I taught that was incorrect? And that I can only imagine what that'll put you through, because when you have to start questioning life and what all you've known and loved, that whole rabbit hole that it'll take you through, uh I would hate to see how deep that goes, but that's one thing, you know. I think for one good example that's outside of all this weird stuff that I'm bringing up is that someone could have a perception. Let's say, for instance, you have a girl who's becoming a woman, who all her life was taught that a woman needs to be treated this kind of way, that kind of way. She only needs to be expected of doing this and that, and she only needs to do this and that, right? Like she was kind of sheltered in a sense that a woman has to be treated and behave in such a manner. But when she hits the real world, everyone's like, "Yo, you need to change that, because you're not going to get anywhere in life with that mindset." And she's like, "Well, I was always taught blah 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 blah." And it's like, "Well, that's what you were used to in that one setting. This is the real world. Unfortunately, it's not gonna be like that." That can really mess someone up, because it's like, are these people lying to me, or were the ones who raised me lying to me? Then you have to spend all this time having to rewire and rework all this incorrectness to make it correct. Get through the feelings of how all that happened, you know, and just it's so much to work through that it can put you behind, or it can really keep you down for a little bit, and that can be tough. That can be tough, because that has happened to people. Not that, well, kind of in that instance, but you know, other instances that I can't really bring up right now because I don't know too many more at this time. Another one being heartbreak, kind of going in tandem with what I just stated, and learning information against what you knew. So yeah, I pretty much just put those two together in one explanation. I have this. I have like 4 pages. I've never done that many. I usually just do like one on the back, one on the front, one on the back. Call it good. But I really wanted to get this down for y'all. Hold on, my lips and my mouth. You know that point where you hit in chapstick that it stops rolling up on you? Yeah, that boy is seen some better days. I'm not one to do the finger thing, but I'm desperate. We got them DSLs. Anyway, so with this whole growing thing, with this getting older, having to learn and understand how to be an adult, because I mean, one thing is that we don't realize until we've hit being an adult how much we've taken advantage being a kid or being a teenager was. Like no responsibility, like it was fun. Like that was good times where I didn't have to worry about paying these bills and missing out on lunch one time, or it we just to look back on it, like I'm hitting one of those moments back in the good old days. It comes with a lot of thoughts and emotions, right? So one is like comparing yourself to others. One thing that I know a lot of us did when we were in high school or middle school, maybe even elementary or even college, maybe all the above. But as you get older, it starts to be, I feel it starts to be a little different. I feel like it's also kind of more direct. Like from what I've understood when it comes to groups, like let's say there's a group of women, you know, like you tend to be like, oh, she's got this and that, I don't have that. Or guys, it's like, oh, you know, he's got the girl, he's got the car, he's got the job, and here I am in my mom's basement, stuff like that. You know, like you kind of just start like seeing that like other people around you, or people that you've seen on the street or just on a daily basis, they kind of have what you want. They kind of have or live in that dream that you created when you were younger. So you just kind of be like, What am I doing? What am I doing myself? Why am I not there? You know, kind of like that. Another feeling is to feel alone. Again, this is another one that you may have felt in school. Not everyone was popular. Not everyone had a clique or like a couple of friends to hang out with. Some of us. Some people walk through the halls not really talking to anyone. But as you get older, because people start doing their own thing, you know, people start to fall off. You may have been the one who really either was already ahead and just had time to hang out with people, or you may feel like you're behind. And so everyone's doing their own thing. Like people are getting into relationships, people are having families, people are more involved with work, and you're just kind of stuck like, oh, I still have time open, but no one else has time. That one can take some time to get used to because it also goes into comparing yourself to others. Because once you start to feel alone, those thoughts come in like, am I good enough? Well, yeah, I'm pretty much going down the list with this one here. So, uh, you may also feel like you're not yourself, like understanding that you're changing. For instance, you may have been the class clown, the funny person growing up, and now that you may be around a set of new people, or it may be around the same people, and you go to make certain type of jokes. I've done this, and they're no longer funny, or you're just not funny to the set of new people, and they're just like, huh. You know, you used to get these laughs and gut busters, but now you're getting these chuckles and these head shakes or shoulder shrugs, and you're just like, oh man, I think I lost my touch. Like I don't know, I don't know what's wrong with me. Another one is to feel like the world is against you. Now with this one, I feel like this one's a real big one that you might see on social media. Because when we get older, a lot of us tend to expect people to check up on us because we feel like we're in a position, we're in like a fragile spot where things are just changing, and we think the change is negative. So I think I spoke on this before. For instance, you know, when we're expecting, like when we're seeing other people talk to other people, we're like, well, why haven't you spoken to me? Why haven't you reached out to me? And and then we tell ourselves, oh, I shouldn't have to reach out to anyone. You should reach out to me. That mindset is very backwards and toxic because if everyone had that mindset, no one would hear from anyone. No one would talk to anyone anymore. So, I mean, in order to kind of expect someone to reach out to you, you may just need to check up on someone else also. Or, you know, kind of fish for it. Like, hey, just wanted to see how you were doing. And, you know, or just be upfront. Hey, I'm just kind of feeling alone. I need to talk to someone. And I've had that mindset before where I just kind of I was in a point where I was like I really didn't care for anyone to like I didn't care to check up on anyone because I just said I was seeing so many people interact with each other, and I felt like I was just this forgotten ass, and I was like, well, everyone seems to be doing well, but no one cares to know if I'm doing well. That's not the case. It's just that we become so occupied with what's in front of us, what's already got our attention. It's not that you're forgotten. It's that you're not commonplace. And the difference is just that I'm not seeing you enough to realize that it had been so long since you've been a thought, you've been around. And that's not a bad thing. Because for us to sit there and think that someone or people that we know have to think about us on a daily or weekly basis, that's kind of, you know, and this is just me, you know, putting ideas out there. It may be you, may not be you, or I'm probably just swinging a miss with all this. But from what it seems, is that we just expect everyone to be like, oh, hey, how are you? And then you may be the person who just hits with a short response, but you liked the fact that someone acknowledged you. Well, you can do the same thing. I think it's kind of childish in a sense that that's what a child would want. Like when a child wants attention, they're the ones who would go and be like, they'll emotion to be picked up, or they'll go running and whining, or they'll cause a scene because they want some attention. Well, that's kind of like the same way we have these tantrums as adults where we want the attention, but instead of just saying it and regressing, well, yeah, instead of just saying it, we tend to regress. Like a child would, or like, let's say, for instance, my son or two will regress because they see that the youngest is getting the attention that they used to. So they try to regress, or they try to make a scene to catch our attention. Like, no, you can't do that because you should be past this phase. We're not going to treat you like that anymore. You know better. And we have to carry that same mentality with ourselves as we get older. We just don't think so because we're not a baby. We don't think that should apply still, but it really does. And it's okay to feel, it's okay to think that at one point that you may feel isolated or forgotten. But if that's the case, put yourself out there. If you're not getting anything back, switch up with whose attention you're trying to get, because social media is such a thing. You can post some serious stuff, you can post some funny stuff, you can post some what the hell stuff, and someone's gonna see it. You're gonna get someone's attention. But if you're just like really shooting for a certain type of attention, I mean, you may get some response on that, but it's just whatever you're seeking. I think there's always a method or two to really get that, but it doesn't have to be just like, oh, you need to check up on me. I'm not the one checking up on people. Well, why would you expect people to check up on you if you're not the one to check up on people? That just doesn't make any sense. As an adult, it's really just like tit for tat. You got to level, and sometimes you got to be the one who initiates. You can't always expect people to initiate for you, and then you don't reciprocate, because that's why you're losing points on why people do things for you, or in the nature of you, because it's time for you to to share, to reciprocate. That also goes hand in hand with feeling left out, being unheard, unacknowledged, unwanted, and also feeling like you're not good enough. And I mean, just to touch on that, I think there are certain times that we hit in our life where we tell ourselves, to kind of make it better, that we're letting ourselves down. We tell ourselves that, oh, it's not for me, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it. And that shouldn't be a statement that we hold on to. That it's natural to think that way, but to hold on to it, there has to be a way to let go of that, because that can keep you in a place mentally that is very unhealthy, and it can get worse. It can put you in a deeper pit that you don't want to be in, trust me. But it's natural to feel that way because, like I was saying earlier, you see life passing you by. You see old friends, family members doing more than what you are, and you're like, oh man, I don't and then like you get this opportunity, and you may tell yourself, oh, I'm not good enough here because people are doing more than you are. People are excelling faster than you are, and so you just kind of, instead of saying, how can I achieve like them, not at their pace, not as much as they're getting, but how can I achieve like them? How can I excel like them? You're like, oh, I don't belong here. This is out of my, because it's easier to let ourselves down than to put ourselves in the position to apply effort to get that way. Because when we look at people doing something, it may seem like it's a lot more difficult than what we're actually willing to apply. Let's see, what's a good example for that? Let's say cooking. So, instead of watching a chef on TV, or a chef, at a fancy restaurant cook, try watching someone who cooks at home for a family or for themselves. Because if you look at a chef and you're seeing how fast they chop everything, how they throw ingredients, and you're like, oh, that's so random, but it tastes so good. They learn certain techniques. They learn that certain herbs go with certain meats and all that. Like, and it's just like second nature once you kind of understand how everything connects. When you grow up, or as you're growing, you have to understand that the like life is all about everything connecting with one another. You just have to really understand, and the subject that you're attentive to at the time, how do things connect? And that's like, cooking may seem like it's a lot harder than it is, but when you start to get the understanding how to apply salt, how to apply pepper, how to apply citrus in a certain dish, how to cook meat on either side and all together. And once you start being able to learn the basics, you'll start to be like, oh, okay, so I can do this, I can do that, and like the gears just start going. Or another easy one, now I'm thinking about it, like the elderly with computers and technology. It's so advanced, and they think it's so advanced that they're like, oh, I have no way of learning all this. I can't learn on it. It's just too much for me because there's so many buttons to click. There's so much to do in one screen. Like they're used to a TV with one remote where you press one button at a time and it activates exactly on the screen. But when you've got this window right here or this phone right here and there's so much to do, you're just like, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. It's just too much. Well, hold on, Grandpa. Let's just slow it down. All the way down. Because when I say do this, and this, wait. Slow down now. Sorry. I'm so used to this. Hey, babe. I'm so used to explaining it in my lingo. I gotta explain it to you. I gotta really dumb it down. I learned this with customer service and IT. Like some people, they really need it dumbed down. But old people. I was trying not to call them that. Old people. They just kind of need like a real simple breakdown when it comes to technology, and it's not always old people. Sometimes it's people who really just don't get it. So when you're explaining it, you have to like, let's say on a computer, you're like, oh, use the mouse, find on the desktop this icon, and they're like, mouse, desktop. I'm looking at it. No, on the screen. Where's the top of the desk? Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is gonna take a minute. It. Like you need patience, but like they need thorough, detailed explanations. But that's how it is. It's like you may feel like, oh, technology is beyond me. I'm just gonna keep it simple with my VHS, my remote with 8 buttons on it. That's one way to think about it if that's not you. But like I was like, oh, I wonder why Grandpa always kept his DVD player. Too difficult. Another one that I had to I have to continue to tell myself that this doesn't exist. The term or the phrase, it's too late for me. Look, I'll say this before and I'll say it again because it's the only example that I can give relative to me, but like it's a good one and a funny one. There is I'm sure, 90-year-old woman now in Japan DJing in the club weekend nights, throwing down, just hit mix after mix after mix, and just if she can do that, you at 40 can finish high school, can get your college degree, because there's people who are 50, 60, and 70 getting their college degree just to feel that success, to like finish what they've started. There's no such thing as it's too late for me. As long as you have the will, the resources to achieve, get to that. If you don't have the will, find some positive outlet that'll rekindle that fire. If you don't have the resources, ask questions, really put yourself out there to try to figure it out, because in this day and age, it's hard not to have resources with the finite of things. So the infinite, just possibility is literally in the palm of your hand if you've got a smartphone. But I mean, there's nice people out there, so I mean, it always be willing to ask, always be willing to just put yourself out there. It's never too late. Never too late. I'm 32, still trying to do things. Never too late. The time is now. Like you gotta remember, people were starting their life at 30 and 40. People were having kids at 30 and 40 way back when. Like their life started, and I know that times are different, but like it's still like they thought like, oh, well, I'm gonna have kids. Say, My wife is 22 and I'm 48. Uh, I don't know what's up. Anyway, so Mammy Rock threw down in 2010s in British clubs. What? Mammy Rock threw down in 2010s in British clubs. Oh snap! Who is that? Who's Mammy Rock? And thanks for popping in, Zach. Oh, Zach, what's up? All right, so what are some ways to think positively, like some positive reinforcement when it comes to aging? Let's see. The first one I wrote is that it's okay to be alone. Think of it as me time. So I know a lot of us have hit that point in time where we're watching friends get together for weddings or going out or going to brunch or going to clubs and bars. And you're like, no one's ever invited me. Take that time to reflect. Take that time to just like really understand who you are and what you want. Look, that yearn to be around people, it can always be achieved by saying, hey, I see that you guys are going out. Do you mind if I come? Don't mean to invite myself, but I'm feeling a little alone tonight. Do that. But also, like, if there is something in your heart telling you, stay in. Let's just kind of stay home. Let's just, like you're trying to force yourself to be in someone's circle or someone's event. You really should just take the time to kind of be like, okay, what is it that I want? Like really like have a conversation with yourself. Just go, hey, even if it's out loud, like how are you doing? How are we doing? Is there any more that we want? But I mean, obviously, if you got Amazon, I know you got a wish list. I know you want more. Like with your work, like am I really happy where I'm at? Do I want more? Do I want to shoot for this promotion? Do I want to ask for this raise? Uh, you know, if you want a new car, like, hey, what do I need to do to put like really prioritize some other stuff that you want in your life instead of trying to chase the youth of trying to be around friends that you used to hang out with when you were 17 and now you guys are 30 and you're still trying to do the things that they're doing still. Like, it's okay to just be alone and be with yourself. Learn to do that. Take yourself out to dinner, take yourself out to lunch, go see a movie alone, walk outside if the weather permits you to do so. Like, just really understand what it means to be alone and that it's okay. Now, as I explained in the past episode, introverts and extroverts, if you're someone who abides by the fact that you really need some time with people, think of it as this. If you spend a lot of time with some people, give them a break. Yeah, I don't know how much time you spent with someone or a group of people, but maybe you might need to give them a break. So you can find one weekend of the month to be like, all right, I'll just do something around the house. I'll figure I'll catch up on this episodes of this one show. I'll just do something different. It's always good to do something different instead of completing the mundane task of always going out, because then you'll get burnt out, and then you start looking at your group differently. Instead of it being the group, it can just be the fact like, oh, I've gone out so much, I'm drinking so much, I'm just tired of doing that. It's not, it try not to look at it as like, oh, I'm tired of these people. Well, no, you're tired of being in these settings. It's the same thing every weekend. Love and happiness is a spectrum. Be true to who you are, open to the possibilities, and enlightening to the experiences. So let me break that down for you. Love and happiness is a spectrum. We can love who and whatever we want. Don't let anyone or anything tell you that you can only love one person. That's not true. Because if you love your family and then you love your partner, that's two different types of love. And you may have a pet, you may have kids, you may have a friend that you love, but whether it's same sex, opposite sex, nothing went as far as physical or like romantic. It was just like, I love this person and I will always be in this person's life. That's another form of love. And if someone's forcing you to either drop that love or explain it, and you don't feel the need to do so, you may need to find someone different. Or really work it out with them, because maybe they don't understand. And if they're the type of people who are like, well, I don't accept that. Well, it's my life. I'm open to the ideas of love, and so if I'm not doing anything to hurt you or us, then you can just chill the hell out. Being true to who you are. So again, maybe take the time to understand what that means. Instead of going out with people like, hey, who am I? Who am I to people? Who Who am I to friends? Who am I to family? Who am I to myself? Um, and once you figure that out, I think the possible open to the possibilities. So the possibilities of what you're able to achieve can be a little more endless than what they are as you can see them in the time being before you had become so enlightened to the experiences. So when I say enlightened to the experiences, it's just kind of being so when you're true to yourself and you're open to the possibilities, enlightening to the experiences, I'm saying being able to live how you want to live, but you're not forcing it on anyone. If someone sees that you live a type of way that isn't common to everyone else that they've known and they have questions, you can explain to them what it is you do, why you do it, what the mindset on it, and they'll go, okay. And if they seem like they're interested, you don't go, so you in? It's like you just kind of give them some insight or some pointers of why you kind of indulge in whatever activity that may be. Let's see. Letting the love of a lost one and the memories be the legacy. We have to learn to understand, to embrace their new form of life, and hope to see them again in the next. So this one was kind of a deep one for me to write and to think because as we get older, the inevitable will start to happen more often. We'll lose loved ones, and you can either be numb to it or it can just continue to hurt you more and more and more, or you can come to the terms with the fact that it's bound to happen to everyone. And how better ways to cope with the idea of losing someone, whether it be friend, good friend, best friend, loved one, partner, family member, pet, what have you. So when I'm saying let the memories be the legacy, we're so used to the physical form of a person that when we know their time has come, we take it so deeply because we don't get to see them anymore, we don't get to touch them anymore, we don't get to talk to them face to face, we don't get to hear their voice, we don't get to feel their presence physically. And sometimes we may even put ourselves in a position of saying, "Oh, I took that for granted. I wish I had more time. I wish it didn't have to be this way." All that. That's why living every day to in the moment is a really it's a way to live because when you start to get hit in that scenario and you start to think that way, it kind of takes you back because I mean the way you live your life and the way that the person that you lost lived their life is just exactly that. It does suck. It does hurt to lose someone close to you. It does. But we have to learn to accept the fact that it happened and it will one day happen to us. Now, don't get too morbid about it. I've been down that road, and I say this just because the reason why I went on to say to embrace their new form is this: like now they're no longer a physical body. Now they're an embodiment of energy, and like their entity has been spread through the cosmos, through the world. You may even have a touch of it. You may even have their ghostly entity around. It's just that no, they're not there physically for us to enjoy how we've enjoyed them, but they've never actually left. It may seem cliche and cheesy, but yes, they will always be there. But that's just it's not the fact that they're gone forever. They've taken a new form, and there's a new agenda at hand for them to live through. That's what I feel. But if you can't come to terms to think that way due to some religious standing, or if you just don't believe that but you believe in God, whatever it is that you believe, understand is that these things will happen. Enjoy who they were to you, the good times, the bad times. And I believe that when we lose them physically, it shouldn't be looked at as a bad thing. I mean, the world is hard enough to go through. I think it's just them finally being able to escape this reality that we call life because it's tough on a lot of us. And I don't know it. However, it is that you can think of it in a positive and healthy way, I would hope that you could find that. For me personally, I think I've really come to the point to where I understand, like, yes, it may be an emotional time to lose someone, um, to lose anyone, honestly. But I think I've built myself to the point that when I understand that I lose one person after the other, and I attend their funeral, or I understand that they're gone physically. I'd be okay with knowing that they move on to the next life, and things are going to be different, things are going to be better, and the memories that I hold of that person will always be in my heart, because that's what we've got left. Like, and here's the thing: whether you've seen this person on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, annual basis, or it's just been a while, you will always, like, you've always been left with that. Even if they were alive, you've always been left with the memories. Like, the difference is that when you remember someone and they're alive, you're like, oh, I'd like to hang out with you again, and you may or may not get that chance. But when they're gone, it's like, oh, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. It's like, just, it's a lot easier to remember them for the memories that you've had. It'll be easier. And to know that you'll see them again. Because, I mean, whatever you believe, as long as you stay on the right path, a virtuous path, just know that you'll see them again. We live in a world, in a universe where history always repeats itself, so you'll see them again. Know that your path and journey is yours alone. There is no comparison. So, going back to the I'm not good enough and I don't have this and that, like, look, your peer is living their life, they're given the opportunities, or they've achieved, they've gained, they've reached for it. Maybe it wasn't given to you, maybe it was given to you and it was a different outcome. Whatever there is that don't knock your journey. Believe in it. We had Nick on earlier this year, and he was saying that he had to change his major. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, he had to change his major because he went to test for it, and then he tested out, changed his major, tested greatly, and he pursued that career. And he was living in the success more so than what he was achieving. Like, we can want all we want, but what we're able to ascertain is what we should focus on. Because a lot of times we're going to have these hopes and dreams just because we really want it to happen. But with whatever we can achieve is what we should actually focus on. Because if you allow yourself to be so caught up in what you want, you're going to be very distraught when you realize that you can't have it. And don't hold on to the hopes and dreams. Believe in it and just understand that things can change. But there's always the path of success as long as you're willing to follow it. Those little bumps in the road, those little detours, understand that they're going to happen, and that's okay. You just got to be willing to accept them and say, all right, what's the next step? You don't want to keep yourself down too long. I mean, take the time that you need to kind of reassess and be like, all right, dust your knees off because you kind of fell a little bit. But as long as you keep going, it should be okay when it comes to moving on in your growth. I would definitely suggest finding people to allow you to feel included, acknowledged, or heard. Find a good circle. Find one that's really healthy and positive, or one that you can live in, where you can talk to someone, and then someone can talk to you, or that person can talk to you, and you're both understood. You both heard. You hit those moments where you just go, I'm so glad I could talk to you. You get me, and they can say the same to you. Or it's just like, it's such a vibing moment. Like, it's like they're not had every moment that you guys see each other, but those times where you're really talking, you're just like, I'm glad I had this talk with you. Thank you so much. I needed it. Those are the kind of bonds that you need to look to have, because that's what helps us propel in a positive manner, in a healthier mindset when we're getting older. Keep those kind of circles around you. You won't be it's less likely to hit those moments of failure, or not even failure. It's just that you won't feel like uh alone, left out. There's always someone that you can lean on. There's always someone you can talk to if you're ever in a moment where you just kind of need someone to vent to, or that guidance. Friends and family are always guidance. Like, I've got friends and family that I can lean on whenever I need to. Like, hey, I need a second opinion. I need a second voice. and I've got my people. People got me. Let's see. Never too late. Already went over that. Oh, here's a good one. Nothing is deserved. Everything is earned. As I got older, I really, because I was so used to hearing people, oh, I deserve this. I deserve this. I deserve this. No one deserves anything. And the reason why I believe that is because no matter how hard you work for something, no matter how much effort you put in to achieve something, that doesn't mean you deserve it. It just means you put in that much time and effort trying to get something that you ended up short on. There's no such thing as being able to deserve anything. You don't deserve love. You don't deserve the promotion. Like, you don't deserve a certain part of life because you want it that way. You just earn it. Like, everything that we do is an award or achievement, kind of in the sense of video games. Like, you are granted that accomplishment or that achievement because you put in the effort. But if you put in all that effort, you put in all that time, blood, sweat, and tears, and you didn't get what you wanted, apply it to something else. Because nothing is deserved. Nothing at all. That is a privileged mindset to think that you deserve something because you put in the effort. Someone else may have done it too. And you never know what someone else is living behind closed doors. But, on a surface, we can show anyone and everyone what we want them to believe. You'll never know what someone else is going through. And maybe it was their time. Maybe it's not your time. Maybe it's not your path. Like I said, you really wanted it to happen, but it didn't. Don't hold on to it. Just be like, okay, I put in all that time and effort, but I didn't get the result that I wanted. Don't let that crash you. All right. Don't let it break you at all. Just be like, okay, now I understand I'm capable of applying that effort, and I can put it towards something else. I can put it towards learning something new. I can put it toward learning and achieving something different. Don't let it crash you. Trust me. If you are strong enough to take that hit, you are stronger enough to be able to accomplish and achieve something with a reward. Again, nothing deserved. And another thing is just, understanding that it's okay to change. Positive change is evolution. You have to consider it that way. You're evolving and growing. And think about it. The term evolution, when we think about it, we think about animals becoming different animals in a matter of millions of years. And yet you've evolved in a matter of 5 to 10. Very quick. That's how deeply rooted humans can be. And especially with the coming of time, with the expansion of technology in the world that we live in, we have to not only grow with the technology, we have to learn everything. We also have to learn ourselves. Like, we're multitasking, we don't even realize it. You gotta understand and be able to pat yourself on the back a lot quicker and a lot more often. You're doing a great job. Things are hitting you so fast as an adult, and as an adult in these times, it's even harder because it's just so much, so much. But it's okay that things are changing. Got to be able to embrace it, go with the flow. All right, so we're getting close here. Unfortunately, I'm on time, so I won't be able to do the guest star this evening. But I will make it up to you guys and open it up early on. I don't have my calendar. The next BAFSAF episode. Sorry, like I said, it's a little different tonight, so I won't be able to do what I normally do. But we'll go ahead and get back to this. Won't be too much longer here. I'm trying to do better with the length of the episodes because I realize that they are pretty long, and I'm kind of getting tired of editing 4-hour videos down to like 3. So now that we've gotten aging out the way, hopefully that was able to shed some light on, kind of give you an idea of like, oh, hey, this is what I need to work on. Hopefully I was able to do that for you. But now we're gonna. Sorry, it's cold. My body don't do well with cold. And now we're gonna talk about the changes in social behavior. So, we get older, we start looking at the people that we used to hang out with. Let's say you're coming out of high school and college, start hanging out with people who are different from those people, and you're just like, I've outgrown this behavior. That's all right. I mean, that happens. Nothing lasts forever in life, and that is okay. So, for instance, like you may want to go out more because you missed the opportunity to do so. That's how I was. I had to take on responsibility at a young age, so I wanted to go out and do things that people I knew were doing when I couldn't. I had to work or I had to, attend to family. So I was out here doing hood rat stuff when people were done doing hood rat stuff, and they're looking at me like, "Yo, it's time for you to grow up." I'm like, "Yeah." It was kind of embarrassing, but very eye opening. Or you may be the type of person to want to go out less because a lot of us, especially you might see people on social media like, oh, I don't go out no more, or I like to stay home and be in my snuggie and my popcorn and my Netflix and be by myself and snack and go to bed at 8 p.m. You see those kind of people, right? They may be going through some social changes because, especially with social media, we're so like we see it so much that people are always going out. You see the pictures and the photo, the videos of people taking shots, pouring up drinks, chugging drinks. The people who pan their camera around the group of friends and everyone's just peace signing it, holding stuff, doing just normal party bar behavior when we were young. Or it's like the people who they smoke, like they're rolling up, they wake up every morning and they're blowing the smoke in their own camera, listening to some rap song, stuff like that. You may have grown out of that behavior, so you don't do it anymore. And I want you to understand, don't think there's anything wrong with that. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're falling out or you've changed or for in a negative light or you're different. Well, things should be different because you're getting older. You should be doing differently with yourself, more progressive things with yourself, for your peers. So those kind of changes, there's nothing wrong with it. And I think some people are just so stuck in the past because they know if they let go of the past, the way that the past has made them feel will also be gone. It's not true. It's just that it's time for you to move on with some things. And some people don't know how to do that. They can't let go. I've dealt with that for a little bit. Then I kind of took a good hard look at myself and I was like, yeah, no, this is embarrassing. So we're gonna not. There's some people out there who want to try to retain their youth. Like you'll see these older guys or these older women, um, like older women, you see them try to wear younger women's clothes and like older dads or even older moms, they're trying to use that new hip lingo that kids use and everything, like fleek and some other stuff I can't think of because I don't keep up with all that. But trying to retain your youth by doing things I mean, like you can do whatever you want whenever you want, but like when you're really trying to capture what everyone else is doing who are twice younger than you, you're reaching. Let's see. Another social behavioral change is speaking differently. One, like I just stated, losing the slang or using more slang, or wanting to speak in a more proper dialect with whatever language that you're speaking primarily. Or, like myself, learning new languages. I am still currently learning Vietnamese on Duolingo. I also have Japanese, Spanish, and French lined up as well, and Korean that I haven't touched at all. That's because I'm currently in a running bet by November. Whoever in my family can speak the most fluently wins. There's no really reward there. It's just like who's more Vietnamese. We're all the same. Minus my mom. She's more because she had us, obviously. Another social behavior I kind of touched on: gaining and losing friends. Actually, I don't think I actually talked about it at all. So we've all hit this point, the fall off, right? Like you just stop hearing from people, or you stop reaching out, or you stop responding to people because you're doing different things, or you just feel like I don't want to do that today. And we like to make excuses as to why we didn't say anything, but really we're just like, I'm not feeling it. And we try to be nice, but I think if we're actually just honest, like, yo, I wasn't feeling it, sorry. You know, we don't have to think about being apologetic. We're just like, yo, I just, I didn't want to do that tonight. And we don't have to feel like we're letting anyone down. I think as friends, we could always suggest something different, or we could be open minded to something different. It's like, oh, I don't feel like going out tonight. Okay. It's been a while since we've seen you. You want to do something different during the day? No, I'll think about it. Go from there. Spending more or less time with family. It's another big one when it comes to changing socially as you get older. You might realize that you don't have to invest so much time in family, as I was saying earlier, or you might be the family type where that's a key. That's a big thing. One, oh, well, I'm skipping one. Making new friends through work or recreation. That's a good one, because when you have a group of friends, right, that you guys came up from school, everything, but then you realize these people at work are on a different vibe, but a vibe that you can get with. And as you start spending more time with them because you work 5 to 6 days a week, maybe, and you start hanging out with them more, things are a little different. You kind of wait, kind of what can't wait to see them at work, or you might even start hanging out outside of work. You start putting your other friends to the side. You put your family to the side because like now you've got a new group. Nothing wrong with that. It's healthy even to kind of cycle out your groups, because you don't want to always stick to one group and then you feel like you're tired of them. It's just like, no, you can take a break. Think of it like that. Take a little break. So the one I was really getting at that I try to skip over, or the one I was skipping to get to this one, having time on or away social media. Now, where we're at in life, social media is so there. It, especially with it being in our pocket, on our phone, or on our computers, or on our tablets. It's always accessible somewhere, some screen. As we were getting older with computers, we had Messenger. We'd come home and hit that Roadrunner internet, or that old Cox internet, hit that AOL Messenger, hearing that door open and close, in the MSN Messenger, hearing the same thing. Got your speaker on too loud, and you go to send a message. It went from that. It went to having pages like Zanga, MySpace. I feel like there's one before that, but and then Facebook, and then from Facebook came Twitter, then Twitter came Instagram, and now it's all this other stuff. And we got Snapchat, we got OnlyFans. Like, there's always something to keep us occupied, and we feel like as we get older, we start seeing the same stuff. Like you have, like, for me, I have over 350 friends, and I see only 10 people post a day. But like as I scroll, I'll see that one person that I haven't seen in a while posted something that I'm seeing from 6 days ago. So I'm always seeing the same 10 people, but like if I continue to keep scrolling, I'll find someone else who had made some posts, and I'm like, oh, okay. But that's just the way the algorithm works. But it's like, I've come to a point of understanding, like, sometimes I know I'm spending too much time on social media. I took a very long break because I needed it. I knew I was seeing the same stuff. I knew I was getting upset about seeing people post the same weird stuff that they would post from like high school, like even till now. I'm seeing people 30, 40 years old posting stuff about love, and it's just like, get over it. You're not gonna sit here and find love by complaining about it using memes, using all these weird created quotes, and just it's unnecessary now. Like that was the thing that we did when we were in high school, middle school, high school, college, when we were trying to indirectly get someone's attention. Being being naive that way. But now it's just like that. You should have outgrown that by now, because I don't know. And I had to look at social media differently, because when I took a break, I'm like, ugh, this is so disgusting. Like, people still behave like this. This is why I took a break. But I had to think about it differently. Social media is just the digital form of someone having a journal. A lot of people try to be funny. A lot of people try to be uplifting and supportive. A lot of people try to be serious, and like there's always something that people trying to gravitate to use their platform for whatever reason. And some people are very versatile. But I was seeing the same stuff, and I was just like, I gotta stop because this is. It wasn't that it was affecting me, like it was making me think differently. It was just like I didn't like continuing to see that people were still stuck in that mindset. Because like especially when you're doom scrolling, you're just sitting there trying to find something to be funny or to catch your interest, and you just see that left over and over and over, meme after meme after meme. Oh, heartbreak this, heartbreak that, job this, job that. It's like you guys are so sad. I'm looking for something to make me happy. Got to put it down. Touch some grass, man. Breathe in that wind. Like just get some outdoor time. Leave that social media alone. But one major thing is that when we're younger, we have this presence on social media because that's what everyone's doing. And as you get older, you have less time, and you start to, like you start to phase out of that, and it's perfectly normal because it should be. You should phase out of the like, there's those really cool people who post memes every day to make sure people if you're down, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go see what he posted. I know he got something funny today. Ah, there it is. All right, yeah, I got my little serotonin for a little bit. But don't depend on it. Don't, like if you're bored, the first thing you do is pick up your phone. When you wake up, the first thing you do is pick up your phone. Now, you go use the restroom, take your phone. Don't get stuck on there for an hour like I do. That's my time, but I mean, I like when I'm sitting on anyway. But yeah, feel free to take a break and don't feel the need to announce it. Just take a break. Some people thought I fell off. Some people thought something happened because I stopped using my Snapchat first, and then I stopped using Facebook, and then I had Messenger active, but I stopped using it because at the time that was like the one way that people could actually get a hold of me before I ended up getting my new phone. So, but after that, I was like, nah. And I had all of it deleted off my new phone. I was like, I don't know. And then some people were still trying to communicate through the Facebook Messenger, and was like, nah, you're not gonna reel me back in. But now that I'm back on, I'm streaming, so I go to post for the exposure, and I'm back in it. So but I know how to pull out. No, I don't. I got 4 kids. I know how to pull away from the social media a lot easier now than I did before. So why is it something to bring up the changes in social behavior as we get older? Well, as I was saying earlier, we tend to find ourselves saying that I don't have time, or we make excuses for not wanting to hang out with people when I believe that we can just be honest. If we have those friends and family who will listen to us, we can be honest and say, hey, I just wasn't feeling it, or I don't want to go out tonight, but like be open minded to try to find something to do in the daytime, because like that's because I have kids, and I know like I don't do nighttime stuff anymore. Like it's just nighttime stuff was when I was alone, or when I had other friends who could do nighttime stuff, and or when I was trying to find someone to play with for a little bit. But I don't need any of those things anymore, and I it's a different life for me. But daytime stuff I can do. I almost said adult stuff, but going out to bars and drinking is adult. So another reason is that some of us will seek more social interaction due to life. Zach says we too old to go out on school day. Gotta wake up early, get these kids to school, get them dressed. And cause look, my 3 boys aren't old enough to, go through that yet. My daughter is, but I don't have her most of the time. But I've been there helping my sister get my nieces and nephews ready, and dude, some of y'all know this, but I don't know what it is about kids that wake up every day thinking it's gonna be different. No, it is 6:30. I let you sleep for 7 minutes. Get up, get these clothes on. We're out the door. Brush your teeth, kiss your mouth. Dang. Especially those kids who wake up crying. I'm just like, go to. I wish you could stay and go back to sleep, but no, leave. But there are those people who tend to want to get out more because, like, being an extrovert, as explained in the last episode, They recharge by getting that social interaction. So some people are like, oh man, I had work. I really need to get out. Work was stressful this week. Can we go out? Can we do this? Can we do that? Those might be the people who tend to look to, get out more because if you have a family and you have a job and they're taking all of your time, but you have the weekends off and the kids are doing their own thing and your partner may be doing something different, or it's like you take one of those days out of each week to me time with your friends or family. Yeah, that's very healthy. Get you a partner who will be like, nah, go, because you on my nerves too. Go have fun. And like they can hold down the fort while you go out and just what do they call it? Take a load off. I don't know. Take a load off. But yeah, and then you come back home, recharge, and you're like, all right, I can take on the next week. Another issue that we've come to understand getting older is that people change, and so do ourselves. And like I was saying earlier, we fall off. We tend to stop communicating with people that we communicated with, and sometimes some of us will sit there and think, man, why things have changed? Is something wrong? We start getting these thoughts in our head that like there's no reason to think beyond that if nothing like changed, like nothing happened. It's just that we tend to fall off. People will fall off. Like maybe your friends found a different group because they're into something different and you're not, and that's okay. Or vice versa. You may be into more and your other friend or friends are still doing the same thing and you're like, well, I want to do this. That's all right. No need to feel bad. No need to make anyone feel bad about it. It's just like do a check-in. If you know that it's gotten to a point to where you don't really talk to certain people or certain persons, do a weekly check-in, do a bi-weekly check-in, do a monthly check-in, and don't always, if you see that there is obvious lack of reciprocation, as if they don't care to even do this, like, I don't care to hear from you, I don't care to reach out, I'll reach out because I'm being nice. Don't put in the effort to do it, because it's, because then you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. But if you can see that the other party is trying, oh hey, what's up? Like the interaction's there. It's just like you can't get that time that you used to. Just keep it up, keep going. They may need it. You may need it, and you don't even realize it. It's just that we get so caught up in what we put ourselves in, work, life. We're trying to escape, but for me, for me, my family, the one saying that we hold true to this day is that it's always something. There's always something happening. There's always like, I remember one time like I wanted to do this and that. Car broke down. Oh, okay, got it. Got to wait and get that fixed. Oh, that's fixed. Oh, something happened at work. Something happened in the family. Like there was this back to back to back to back to back. I had no free time to do anything, and we hit those times, and we're going to hit those times even more as we get older. You just got to learn to roll with the punches and just be like, all right, hey, if you can actually ascertain the goal of getting yourself some free time or me time and be firm about it, like be more firm than you need to. But if it's a responsibility that you can't overcome with your firmness of getting that free time or me time, sometimes you got to put it on hold and just push it back. Just like think of it like a vacation. Like it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there, and like like even make it the main priority. Like instead of getting this new video game or this new set of clothes or this and that, it's like no, I really need my me time. I'm gonna go do this, and then I'm gonna go back to the list of what I want to get, what I want to have. It's very important to keep a healthy lifestyle of getting out and being around other people because if you're around the same people too long, you might get tired of them. So looking into that, there's some positive reinforcement when it comes to living in those, in that mentality. So as I was saying earlier, it's okay to outgrow people or phases. Nothing lasts forever, and you find new people, but that doesn't mean you've lost old people. If you've ever lost a friend because you fell off, that was never your friend in the first place. They were just using you as a means to keep in their entertainment until they found other entertainment. But for real friends, they don't need to do the whole, hey, why are you hanging out with me? You know, it's like each friend will be understanding or able and willing to understand that, hey, sometimes someone will listen like, hey, are we good? Oh, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm sorry. I just been real busy. Okay, I just wanted to check and make sure, we haven't talked in a while like we used to, but, I thank you for clearing that up. Sorry, I really wanted to know that we were okay because you're my boy or, you're my girl. And and like that, we have to have those conversations that way. We have to stop assuming for the other party. We have to stop assuming without having to, like we need to start talking and opening up. Really have conversations with our peers and our people. We're getting too far in our lives to sit there and be like, oh well, they ain't say nothing to me, so I'm not saying nothing to them. Like that's weird. That's weird. You should be able to talk to your people. And I feel like it's crazy, but I get it. Because like I said, I've been in that mindset before, but we should hit that point where we can pull ourselves out of that and be like, hey, just want to make sure you're good. You may get a small response. It may take a day or two, or you may get like a whole conversation. Embrace whatever you receive, because as long as you know that someone's able to open the message or respond, you know that they're doing well enough to see that you reached out, and just wish for the best. That's the best. I feel like that's one of the best ways to really think about it, because not only you're not putting too much into it to give your hopes up, but also, I mean, you got a response. I had to put myself in that position because I would sit there and be like, oh man, I don't think we're cool anymore because I said that one thing and it was never that. 9 times out of 10, it was never. It was just me overthinking and assuming. It was just the people that I haven't heard from or I didn't reach out to because I was in some weird space in my head. Life takes us in a different route, and we just gotta like accept that. But like I said, just be willing to open up and have this conversation. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel weird about it. If you've spent time, if you spent emotions, you shared emotions, if you shared experiences, you should be able to have a conversation. As simple as that. Continue to find healthy and positive methods of social interaction. So, like if you feel like you don't have any friends to talk to, or if everyone's kind of moved on or moved away, and you feel like you really are alone, find some groups on social media that there's so many out there. There's just people who are like-minded, who are always willing to like invite another person in. If you're into books, you can find a physical book club. Like there's always some things happening around in your name, in your community, and then also social media. But always make sure that it's uplifting, it's supportive, and it's very mentally and emotionally healthy for you. Don't be anything where you feel like you're ostracized, or like you're just like you're not a fit for that group. As I was saying earlier, rethink how you use social media, and then also be willing to take a break. So like I was saying, I had to think about it in the sense that people use it as a digital journal instead of just kind of like meme dumping and trying to make a point. Because in the midst of everything that people are posting, you can kind of understand where they're at mentally and emotionally. You're just like, huh, maybe take that advantage to check in on that person. But hey, yo, you good? You want to get a bite? Something like that. And then, of course, embrace change. I can't stress that enough. Things are going to change, and you just got to be okay with it. And if you're not okay with it, life is going to be that much tougher for you, because I mean, look, it's difficult to process change. It's difficult to get through change, but it's only as difficult as you make it. Because if you're sitting there throwing a little tantrum or throwing a little fit, kicking your foot about it, then yeah, it's going to be tough, because you keep putting yourself in a position to not want to do it. But if you're open minded and say, all right, well, let's see how this goes, it'll be a little easier. And then once you get to that point, you go, huh, it's not so bad after all. You might get there. It may take a little bit longer for you to get there, but you got to stay open minded. We're in such a crucial time. After you hit 30, you just hit this point where everything just kind of goes. It just happens. Like for me, like I used to be so on point with my dates, my times, and now I'm like, I wake up and it's Wednesday. I thought it was Sunday, like a day ago. Life is just going by so quick, but so slow, and I'm just trying to keep up. I'm just trying to find ways to really just be okay every day. And I'm getting way better. But sometimes that means I just gotta not touch my phone. Sometimes that means I'm just like, I'm late today, but I was hanging with family. Sometimes it means you just, hey, friends will have to wait for that response, or like you'll have to wait to get a response from friends. It's you have to learn to acclimate a little bit at a time. And if you feel like everything's hitting you all at once, just kind of prioritize with yourself what's more important to acclimate with first. Because like if something's hitting you a lot harder than something different, work on that tough one first. Because then you may just come to find, and if it's too much to handle, just switch to the other one. Because like you don't spend too much time on one thing if you're not getting anywhere. Just kind of flip it. Work on something else. But all right, I'm gonna put you on hold. I'm gonna go work on this one because maybe working on one makes the other one easier. But yeah, definitely don't put yourself in a rut on spending too much time on one thing to work out with yourself. Appreciate the ones you had and the ones that you've gained. I mean, as you fall off, as you get older, like the memories that you hold with people that you used to hang out with, those are ones that you cherish, and also cherish the ones that you're gonna make or that you're making with the people that you're hanging out with now. Like I said, you never lose a friend. You just stop hanging out. If you've lost a friend, if they stop declaring you a friend because you fell off, they weren't your friend in the first place. They were just a memory, and that's okay. Like, hey, all right, you don't want to say that we're friends. We had fun. Well, whatever, that was old. Okay, whatever makes you feel better. To me, we had good times, but hey, best of luck to you. Let's see. I also put take advantage of recharging alone. I kind of went over that with the last episode and a little bit earlier today. Learn to accept what was and what is now. Don't get stuck in a loop of the past. Well, just kind of said that, so I'm a little ahead of myself today. But just to wrap up here, listen, I was telling y'all earlier about how I sweat now. I've got grays, got hair that I never thought I'd ever get in my life. I never was cool with this, but I'm okay with it now. My body's not how it used to be. Look, if you don't like the size of your body, if you don't like the shape of your body, you can work out. Now, I don't know the hindrance you may or may not have with working out. It does take effort. It does take discipline. Look, you don't have to bust your ass every day, hours a day. Your body needs the rest. If you start putting yourself out there to work out for 30 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day, try to push yourself after a month for maybe an hour, 2 to 3 times a week. Sorry. Try to push yourself for an hour, 2 to 3 times a week. You'll start to see results. You'll start to feel better. You may even start to listen to your body more, and it's going to tell you, hey, stop eating that. Don't eat that bread. Stop putting that burger in your mouth. You put it down now. You go find you a carrot, and listen to your body more. You don't sit there and try to put your ear to your stomach because you're just going to look like a but like when you can sit there and stay out of your head and just let your body do the talking, like when you go to look at some fast food, you're like, oh man, your stomach's telling you, yeah, we want that. We want that. But your brain's like, yo, don't. Don't do that. Don't let your stomach do the talking. Listen to your brain. Because they're already talking to each other and they're arguing. So it's just like, you can always change how you look naturally. You shouldn't have to feel like you have to change how you look artificially. Don't go spending the money to get injections to get stuff removed unless it's like actually life threatening. Then do that. But I mean, if you're like, oh, I'm feeling fat, so I gotta get liposuction. No, do some squats, stretch before and after, before you go to bed and before you start your day. When you wake up, drink water, electrolytes. Put the pop down. Put the chips down. This is me telling myself because I'm a snack man. Oh, I will eat junk food, cookies, cakes, chocolates, chips, pop. That's me. But I had to tell myself to stop because I was getting too big. When I knew I was bending over and I was like, I got up and said, it's time to change. Now I'm out here doing UFC MMA stuff on a punching bag. I never thought I'd be able to do. But it takes time. You just gotta be willing to tell yourself it's time for a change. Be disciplined about it. Be firm. Look at yourself. Say, don't you eat that cookie. Maybe for Friday. Maintain a healthy, supportive, positive circle. Can't stress that enough. Whether it be all family, some friends, all friends, some family, balance, whatever it is, make sure you don't need someone who's always rooting for you. But whenever you feel down and out, you can talk to someone and they're like, yeah, this, and that. And you go, oh, I needed that. And then you can also reciprocate where you feel like you can do it instead of feeling forced. Healthy balance of just, yourself and then having a circle of people. It goes a long way. We don't need to do this thing called life alone. We want to, and some of us have the mindset like, oh, I can be alone for the rest of my life. No, no. I used to think that way, and no, don't think that way. You don't need a bunch of friends like other people have because that's just harder to balance. Get you like 3 people you can really reach out to if anything goes wrong, and then you're good. And then last but not least, learn and maintain. Yeah, learn and maintain healthy boundaries. Be able to tell people no when you mean no. Be able to reach out when you need something. Be able to understand when it's time to take a break for something. Boundaries are your best friend when it comes to aging and having a social balance with people. Boundaries. If you're the type of person who needs who need, like, a lot of us really do need it because we need to understand safety, and you should be the one to support it. And you need to show up to someone's house, let them know that you're on the way. People have had past trauma, and it don't really go well when they're met with, what's the word? Uninvited guests or surprises, and then, yeah, if anyone's trying to cross those boundaries, give them warnings like, hey, and just be firm. You don't have to be argumentative. You don't have to, go crazy on anyone. Because remember, be serene, be at peace with yourself. But when it comes to those boundaries, let people know, like, hey, man, I talked to you about it last time. I really need you to understand this. Like, I need this because I need this from you. Can you please? And oh, okay, sorry, what happened? If you notice that someone has a blatant disregard for what you're asking, you can cut them off, or you can just like weasel them out. Like whatever's healthiest for you. Just don't make any drastic decisions on how to remove someone from your life, or just like make them I feel ousted. But it's a big thing to have those boundaries. It goes a long way. But that's my time for this episode. Again, next week you won't be seeing me at all. But the following week, the first of the month, I should have everything set back up at the new place, and we'll be back to normal schedule. It's just been a little rough this month because everything's happening so fast. But again, I appreciate everyone that's been here strong. So just to kind of go over, I won't be there. I won't be streaming next Wednesday with Trey. Sketch and Catch won't be. Well, it's postponed. And for the sake of moving and everything, I'm also probably not going to be streaming the weekend with the gaming. Just to make sure everything's taken care of. But I'll definitely keep everyone posted on the socials. Again, I'll go ahead and put everything down here. You can find us on YouTube, MyCam Social. You can find us on Twitter. We have the MyCam Social page and the BAFSAF official page. You can find us on Facebook at MyCam Social. On Twitch, if you're watching on Twitch, on YouTube, we've got MH Social on Twitch, MH_social. That is. And then if you ever want to reach out in anonymity, if you ever feel like you've got something to say, or some little insight, or if you ever need someone to talk to, you can always hit up the social page. You can always message me in Messenger, or you can email me at capital MHS O lowercase, so capital MH social, S is capital, official at outlook.com. But other than that, I hope everyone has a safe weekend. Get out there, spend some time with people, spend some time with yourself. I'm rooting for everyone to live their best life. Hope everyone has a safe one. But someone's always here if you need it. I'm always here. The boys always here. We're gonna make this a big thing, but enough ranting from me. Everyone, enjoy yourselves. Have a good night, and I'll see you back hopefully on October 5th. All right, y'all. Thanks for stopping by. For everyone who viewed, everyone who's watching, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again. Take care.